Gardner-Webb head coach Cris Reisert, the team coming off a loss against nationally ranked Tennessee Tech 27-21 last week. This week, home, SEMO comes to town Saturday afternoon. So, coach, just some thoughts on your team, and we'll go to questions.
Yeah, a hard-fought game on Saturday. Proud of the way we battled. Gave ourselves a chance to win in that last possession at the end, and just didn't have enough. I thought we played a really sound, solid football game. Tech's a really good football team, and so they certainly stressed you in a lot of different areas. And was proud of the way that we put ourselves in a position to have a chance. And at the end, I thought they made just a few more plays than we did to close, but. Back to work this week. Got a really talented football team at SEMO coming to Boiling Springs, and so we don't have time to feel sorry for ourselves. Tech beat us once; it's not let them beat us twice, and got to have a great week of prep, and because SEMO warrants that, and we'll certainly have to play a really good football game to put ourselves in a position to be successful on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to some questions. Jacob is with us. Go ahead, Jacob.
Coach, just one particular question about last week's game. How close were you to going for it on that fourth and goal at the 2 before you called the timeout and kicked the field goal?
Well, we were going for it, and then the timeout happened, and from our vantage point, it looked like it was 4th and 1 from the box and from where I was standing, and so we were going for it, and then they called the timeout. We walked over there. It's like, whoa, it's actually a pretty long 2. And so that was where we kind of came out of it, and we felt like it was going to be a points game. I think early in the year we probably go for it, and we felt like we were playing really, really solid football, and we felt like those 3 points were going to matter in a big way, and that's why we ended up trying to kick the field goal and just didn't quite work out from 26 yards. And but yeah, we were going, and then the angle changed and realized it was a pretty long 2. Close to 3, and we ended up kicking it.
This, like you said, you don't get a break. SEMO doesn't have the best record this year like they traditionally have, but they're still a very dangerous football team. What jumps out to you about them on paper, and what do you have to prepare for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're 3-6, and they got to be the best 3-6 team in the country. I mean that is every bit of fact. I think their defense is tremendous. They're really big up front schematically. I think they do a really good job of forcing you into maybe situations you don't want to be in all the time. They've done a great job stopping the run the last 4 weeks. Personnel wise, I think they've got some really high quality players in the front 7 and in the back 4. Offensively, the quarterback is healthy and has played well the last 2 weeks. He throws the ball really well, gets it out of his hand. Zero was a kid that was disruptive against us last year. Their wide receiver 21's a really good guy vertically, and then certainly they've got 2 backs that can beat you. Anytime you give them the opportunity, really 3. And so we've got to be mindful of all that stuff. And no, it's a really good football team. And like I was saying earlier, Jacob, we don't have the opportunity to feel sorry for ourselves. We got to dust ourselves off, and we got to have a great week, and we got to go back to work and find a way to get a win this Saturday.
Coach, I know you only like to think about one game at a time, but how good is it to have 2 of the last 3 at home when you're trying to put a positive stamp on this season when you're finishing out?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal. I think it gives you the chance to kind of rest a little bit. We've had 2 long trips. Going out to Lindenwood and then going to Tech last week, and so it's nice to be able to kind of catch our breath a little bit and spend a Friday at home and not have to worry about a long bus ride on a Saturday and things like that. And so I think that's a blessing. And no, we still have a lot to play for. And so our guys are super energized, and we know that we've got to do our part these last 3 weeks, and hopefully that leads to good results as we get into the back end of that. And so we just got to worry one day at a time, 1 week at a time. But we've got a lot to play for, and we've got to keep battling.
All right, Coach. Thank you. That's all for me this week.
Thanks, Jacob.
Coach, what did you like or not like about your running game? Like, Tech was the #1 rush defense, and you all had some success. Like, how would you rate what you did against Tech on rushing them?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we executed our plan as well as we could. Obviously we know how dynamic they are on offense, right? So if you get into a game where you're trying to, quick shot them, and they're probably going to win that battle, and so, we won the time of possession 40-20. That was a pivotal piece of what we wanted to do. We had 83 plays to their, I think it was 42. And we felt like that was our best opportunity to keep the game close. We needed to run the ball for 3 yards a pop. Against other teams, you might be trying to run it for 5 or 6 yards a pop. Against a team as good as them, that's not really going to happen, and so you had to be able to control it. We had to be methodical. I felt like we gave ourselves the best possible chance to win. We just didn't finish it, and so I like, in all sincerity, like, and I don't mean this in a braggadocious way, I like everything that we did. I thought we played a really, really good football game. They're a really good team, and against a tremendous team, there's no room for error, and what great teams do is they take advantage when that error pops up. And, really, late in the game, I think we got tired, and they have so much personnel and so much depth that, they didn't. And I think that they did a tremendous job of capitalizing on that. So I was proud of the way we competed. I mean, hats off to Tech. They're awesome. And they played a great game, and they deserved to win. But I really felt like we played a really solid football game. And I think, me personally, we showed that we can go toe to toe with anybody, and I'm proud of that. And so this is another week where we get a chance to play against a proud program that's got great personnel in SEMO, and we're going to have to prove it again.
And what do you take away from the drive you scored on last, 11 plays, 75 yards? So again, at the end of the game where you maybe do have some tired players, that was quite a great drive to, pull yourself back within 6 points there at the end. And just how did that drive?
Yeah. No, I mean, if you'd have told me that, hey, you got the ball with a minute 20 left and, chance to win it, like I'd have taken that, and going into the game. And so, unfortunately, we just, we struggled in that the last drive, just being able to protect, and that happens, and so, I think, I was proud of the way that we showed resolve, and I think, again, like, all you can ask for is a chance to win those games. And you hope that the next time you get into that situation that we can capitalize in that last drive and we can finish, but we're not hanging our heads. That was, a really good football team. And it was cool to watch our guys go to battle.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Just best of luck to your team this weekend. We'll talk to you again this time next Tuesday.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Jacob. See y'all.